big news last week after we talked last Tuesday. President Obama put out a budget, and it does not contain the so-called chained CPI, which is, again, your beat is the middle-class Americans. You're there fighting for them, reporting on what's going on. Is this good for the middle class?
Yes, it's good for anyone who receives Social Security. That's more than 50 million people. So this affects a tremendous number of Americans. The budget's not out yet. The White House, though, is telegraphing that they will leave this cut to Social Security out of it.
What is chained CPI?
Chained CPI is a cut to Social Security benefits, but it's sort of a wonky cut, and that's why technocrats like it, because it's obscure and hard to understand.
It represents a different way of calculating benefits, correct?
It makes cost of living adjustments smaller. And it's only a little smaller at first, but if you live for a long time after you start receiving Social Security benefits in retirement, it amounts to several $1,000s over the course of your retirement. And it assumes that inflation affects people less than the current COLA system, because people, if the price of something goes up, they'll substitute that purchase.
Well, why did they do it in the first place? Or why did anybody propose it in the first place?
It's a more complicated method of calculating inflation. Right now they use the Consumer Price Index for wage earners, clerical workers, and they measure how much different goods cost, and they call it a basket of goods. Mm-hmm. And it actually takes a couple years to figure out what would the chained CPI version be, because they go back and look at data and revise it. And again, it's this substitution effect. If beef goes up, they say, people will switch to pork. So that's the substitution. And people like Barney Frank have always mocked that, like senior citizens looking for deals at the supermarket will leave the store and drive 20 miles to the next one to substitute these things that they need in order to eat and survive. But anyway, President Obama has loved chained CPI for years. He's trying to get it in a grand bargain with John Boehner. Republicans love it. He put it in his budget last year, and of course, this isn't something that automatically becomes law, but it's just a statement of administration priorities. Now they're saying
he drove liberals crazy by putting in chained CPI.
Bernie Sanders, Tom Harkin, the assorted labor and Social Security advocacy groups have been raising hell about this. They really hate it. And I remember how they would have events like every month. Nobody was even talking about it. And I asked Bernie Sanders, why are you doing this? I mean, it's not part of the conversation right now. And he would say, they're working on it as we speak. And he was right. They were. They always were. And now it turns out they're done with it.
That's a very good question, Arthur.
Yeah, that's basically what he sounds like.
But so why did the president drop it? If he was, he's been for it all this time. Why did he suddenly drop it?
You remember he said he wanted to break the fever in Congress.
He did. But
he's done trying to get a deal with Republicans because they would not accept his proposals and then attack him from the left anyway for anything he tries to do on entitlements. For instance, right now they're attacking him on Medicare Advantage. He's going to hurt seniors by cutting Medicare. Yeah. Really? The party that is supposedly serious on entitlement reform will attack from any direction on entitlement reform. So now Obama is doing his minimum wage, I'm going to help workers thing. And this is part of that. He is no longer preemptively compromising. Instead, he's just saying what he supposedly actually wants.
Secretary of Treasury Jack Lew told Susan Page from USA Today last week that we put chained CPI in there thinking we could get some Republicans. It's sort of a way of playing nice to Republicans. Okay, we'll give them this, and then they got nothing in return.
I think they tried it and it didn't work. So
they're saying, why give it to these guys if we're not going to get anything back for it? Right?
The thing is that at the time,
so they've dropped it, right? It's out.
No, well, this is where it gets a little hairy. They dropped it. They've taken it out of their budget. They say it's not really a policy they favor. Right. However, Josh Earnest said, well, it remains on the table. So the administration is a little bit having it both ways on chained CPI. They are not out there promoting it, but if you ask them, they'll say, oh, well, It's not so bad.
Huh.
We're willing to cut a deal still if we could.
I hate that trying to have it both ways and trying to but that's so classic in so many ways.
Yeah.